just done is really revoked a lot of what Dr. King's dream was all about. We built a monument to Dr. King, and part of at least half of what Dr. King's dream was about was voter rights, 65. They've just revoked that. They've just canceled the dream, and the children of the dream are not going to sit by and allow that to happen.
All right, that's Al Sharpton, ladies and gentlemen, reacting to the Supreme Court decision announced today, a 5-4 vote that struck down Section 4, some say the heart of the Voting Rights Act of 1965, ruling that Congress had not provided adequate justification for subjecting 9 states, mostly in the South, to federal oversight. Joining us now, we're honored to say, is former UN ambassador from the United States, Ambassador Andrew Young, also former mayor of Atlanta, and we boom into News Talk 1160, the talk of the town in Atlanta. Hello, Mr. Ambassador. Thank you. Okay. Do you agree, sir, with Al Sharpton's analysis there of the decision?
Well, I don't know what it was. I have not seen Al Sharpton's analysis.
Okay, he just said that they killed Martin Luther King's dream, and that was that was a huge part of the dream, and it's now dead. Well,
that's still up to the Congress and up to the people in the courts. I think that this is what we make it, and I think we can make it a defeat, or we can go back to the Congress and try to expand the idea of preclearance to include states like Ohio and Michigan, Pennsylvania, other places where we have recently seen gerrymandering or efforts to suppress the vote. But the preclearance one did protect the South. But we are doing better in the South. But I think we are having more efforts to suppress the vote of minorities and women and the elderly in other places. So the Supreme Court didn't do anything to advance the vote, but it may wake up a lot of citizens to realize that in addition to filing lawsuits, we might have to have other approaches to secure the right to vote.
Such as what, sir?
Well, I don't know. See, you have to put this together with the ruling of the Supreme Court that overruled Congress' effort to take money out of politics. When I was in Congress, we went to great lengths to try to make public funding of elections possible and to take the big money out of politics. The court overruled that and put the big money back in charge of politics. Now you're taking out the remedy of preclearance, which meant that people had to have their changes approved. I'm sure you're going to see all kinds of changes across the South that try to go back to gerrymandering and minimizing the effect of minority voters.
So when Justice Roberts says that the country's changed, the South has changed, you don't go along with that?
No, I do go along with that, but it hasn't changed that much. It's changed on the basis of race, but when we passed the Civil Rights Act 50 years ago, it was a Republican court, and it was Republican judges that made it possible for us to march from Selma to Montgomery. We've changed in the sense that we've flipped, and this is no longer the Republican Party of Lincoln. This is the party of Eisenhower. This is the party of suppression. Now, you have to keep fighting on this. But the Supreme Court certainly isn't helping any.
So you believe the Republican Party is trying to suppress black votes?
Well, I think there was evidence of that in Ohio and the way districts have been drawn here in Georgia. I mean, we have almost a complete Republican state legislature, and the efforts to, you've got to be constantly vigilant to protect your human rights.
We're talking to Ambassador Andrew Young here on the Steve Malzberg Show. Let me tell you about a remark made by Congressman Ryan Winkler of Minnesota. He called the ruling on his Twitter account, quote, the work of 4 accomplices to race discrimination and one Uncle Thomas, a reference to Clarence Thomas, obviously. How do you feel about those kinds of remarks?
Well, I think we ought to keep this about expanding the franchise, protecting voting rights, making democracy available to all of the people. And actually, I don't like to racialize this, because the efforts to discriminate against senior citizens in Florida with locations of polling places and I mean it's the Old South, because of preclearance had become pretty stable, but the changes and harassment of voters in Pennsylvania and Michigan and Ohio especially, the efforts to minimize the vote were very apparent. And, the court maybe got too smart for itself. It has it's pushed us back into a kind of plutocracy where the rich shall inherit the earth.
Do you believe that the Congress will take this up? Do you believe a Republican-controlled House will, in your view, remedy this? No?
I don't believe they will, but I don't expect to have a Republican-controlled House, forever. We have an election in another year, and I think that their inaction on other issues, their failure to take into consideration the role of the United States of America in the world, and the whole issue of women's rights and of the rights of the Hispanic and immigration situation. There's going to be more effort on the voting.
So you think we're running out of time, sir. So you think in 2016 we could see a Democratic House swept in a midterm election?
I do.
Okay, interesting.
And I'm looking to make some gains in 2014.
Gotcha. Mr. Ambassador, great to talk to you again, sir. Thank you so much.